Tiffany Henyard vows the show will go on.
You told us on Election Day we haven't heard the last of you. What's next for you?
It's a lot next for me. Stay tuned.
We're finally approaching the end of an era here, like we've covered before. The infamous super mayor Tiffany Henyard has officially been stripped of her position in the village of Dalton. She's also been kicked out of Thornton Township, and in just a matter of time, she won't be holding any elected office at all. But let's talk about the newest twist in the Tiffany Henyard saga before. We reported that she was raking in over $250,000, but less than $300,000 between both positions. Well, now, a final audit just dropped from the local news. It turns out she was actually pulling in way more than $300,000. And here's the wild part. Her luxury travel lifestyle, it wasn't just a perk, it was being funded by another program that paid her $600 a day anytime she stepped outside of Dalton or left the state of Illinois. Basically, she got to travel first class and take mini vacations using taxpayer money. It's insane start to finish. But what's even more unbelievable? Despite everything, she still has die-hard supporters in the area, and some of them, they're out here saying stuff that is just completely ridiculous. Like this, ... Look,
I think she's doing what men have been doing for years as far as her security and all those things. She needs that.
She give back to the community, so, I mean, what more can people ask for?
I've got to hand it to the people of Dalton. They made a mistake by voting Tiffany Henyard into office, but they caught on fast. And right away, they organized a recall campaign to get her out. The only catch? That recall got shut down by a judge who decided to toss it out. Then, the community didn't fold. They kept pushing, they kept fighting, and in the end, they completely wiped the floor with Tiffany Henyard by electing trustee Jason House as the new mayor of Dalton. The numbers? Something wild, like 88? 2-2. Total landslide. Now, with all that said, there's still a handful of clowns in Dalton real-life jokers. And if you honestly believe this entire movement to hold the super mayor accountable is just because she's a woman doing what men have supposedly done forever, then you're clearly not paying attention to what's actually going down in your own backyard. But anyway, before we dive into this final act, this farewell bash thrown in honor of the so-called super mayor, let's get into it, all right? So the local news finally laid out all the details.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
Self-proclaimed super mayor Tiffany Henyard leaves office in the next few weeks after being badly beaten at the ballot box. Questionable spending, clashes with trustees, and an ongoing FBI investigation led to her undoing.
That led to the super mayor's complete downfall, basically breaking down exactly why her time is officially up. And honestly, if I tried to walk you through everything right now, this video would easily turn into a 3-hour deep dive, and nobody's got time for that. So, like I always do with these kinds of videos, I've linked my full Super Mayor playlist from start to finish right up here on the card and down below in the description. So you can binge watch all 30 episodes I've done covering this woman and her absolute chaos in both the village of Dalton and Thornton Township. But today, we're locked in on the new stuff, the fresh updates. And no, this isn't some allegation the super mayor can brush off by calling it fake news or false accusations. These are cold, hard facts. Turns out, she was cashing a way bigger paycheck than anyone previously reported because she went out of her way to milk every single perk she possibly could. Alright, here's something you really need to pay attention to. Every single box of food handed out at these giveaways had Tiffany Henyard's name slapped across it. Every single one. And let's be honest, those giveaways, pure PR stunts? She hoped handing out some food would earn her the people's trust because, as she always says, everything we do is for the people. She keeps repeating, the mayor's the one doing the work, not the trustees who just sit around talking and doing nothing. She constantly brags about how she and her team grind until midnight while everyone else is out partying. According to her, the trustees haven't passed one meaningful ordinance for the community. Not one. Every law passed, supposedly written, just to benefit the trustees and their lawyers, but never the actual residents. But here's the real deal. Henyard says it's all for the people. Yet if you zoom out, this is straight out of the classic authoritarian leftist playbook. Take taxpayer money, squeeze productivity out of everyone else, live a luxury lifestyle off their dime, then toss out scraps like food boxes to make it seem like you're doing something noble. And people line up for it thinking it's free, when in reality, they paid for it through their own taxes. Meanwhile, her face is plastered on billboards, painting herself as some generous savior of the city. But the people didn't fall for it. That's why she's out removed from both positions. Still, in her final moments, she's doing what she's always done, robbing taxpayers while tossing crumbs and throwing parties. And yeah, even people who never supported her, they're still pulling up for the food handouts because, hey, free is free. And honestly, I can't even blame them. I didn't vote for her either and never would, but if she's handing out food, I'm not turning it down. People are out here saying I don't like her, she's a mess, but I'm taking what's mine, because they know she's already taken way more from them than what she's giving back. Even local news tried. To frame some of her programs is worthwhile, but let's be real, that's giving her way too much credit. Even the so-called good programs were mostly about boosting her image, slapping her name on everything, grabbing the spotlight. We just got the receipts official records showing she made over $347,000 last year from Dalton and Thornton Township. Combined, that's more than the mayor of Chicago. To break it down, $282,000 came from Thornton Township alone, and that doesn't even count the $4,900 monthly expense allowance and the $1,100 vehicle stipend. Meanwhile, Dalton residents paid six figures for two SUVs the police department supposedly needed, except they were really for Henyard. We've already talked about the base salary around $225,000 from Thornton and about $50,000 from Dalton, which already puts her above the Illinois governor. But it gets crazier. There was another $75,000 in perks stacked on top, that monthly $4,900 in expenses. She pocketed it while still billing Dalton and Thornton for other stuff. And the $1,100 vehicle stipend came from Thornton, but she still billed Dalton for leasing a car under absolutely terrible terms. At this, she's leasing a Chevy Tahoe that ends up costing nearly $150,000. That's the kind of loan. A broke 19-year-old with no credit would get something like 27% interest. Financially insane? Here's the breakdown from official documents dated December 27, 2022. The Tahoe's cash price is $93,216.71. But after fees and interest, the total lease balloons to $149,146.20, over $50,000. It's just extra costs, because she didn't even try to negotiate better terms. So instead of using her vehicle stipend, she kept the cash and made Dalton taxpayers foot the bill. Just reckless. Everything people said about her, dead on. She can throw all the flashy events she wants, but in the end, she was bleeding this. Community dry? Not just with her inflated salary, but with an extra $6,000 a month in expenses she just stashed away. And since she lost the election, Henyard hasn't shown up to a single board meeting. When asked why, she dodges the question still. Salty about losing? It's like someone running for president, losing in November, then skipping out on their responsibilities until Inauguration Day. That's literally what she's doing now. Still in office, still getting paid, but completely ghosting the job. Instead of working, she's out partying, dancing, throwing taxpayer-funded celebrations, and ducking any real accountability. One longtime employee, Stephanie Weedman, who spent 20 years at the township, blew the whistle on all of it. And if Henyard had just owned up and said, yeah, I messed up, maybe things would have calmed down. But no, Shay made it a spectacle. Every 2 weeks, it was another episode of Super Mayor, the drama series. And of course, we got the crowd saying, why are y'all going after a black woman in power? Like that's supposed to be a shield from criticism. You should be ashamed, they say. You're the ones costing the village money. Seriously? Even local news aired those clips of people shouting, y'all black, and y'all attacking a black woman. Like that somehow justifies corruption. And by the way, those clips, straight ripped from my videos, wild, right? Shame on them. But real talk, none of this should surprise anyone. The truth was always in plain sight. Henyard didn't care about the people of Dalton or Thornton. She cared about herself. That's why it's no shock she made more than Chicago's mayor. And the Illinois governor? And now she's just phoning it in, not even pretending to care? And if you think she's going out quietly, think again. It's the last time she showed up to a Thornton Township board meeting. It literally turned into a brawl. Yes, she threw hands. That's the supermayor way. Not even shocked anymore. WGN Investigates looked into it and found that Henyard and her crew spent over $100,000 of taxpayer money on luxury travel. We're talking Four Seasons hotels. Fine dining at steakhouses. This was late 2023. She wasn't just living it up. She was doing it on your dime. And when asked to explain, she hit us with, "I don't handle anything related to credit cards." She actually said that in a board meeting. Then when confronted about specific charges, she pulled the classic, "Some of those were for you, though." Really? Did he? You go to Vegas? No comment? Were you in Vegas or not? I know. So were you. They didn't pay for that. It's a whole circus. And when asked to explain, she hit us with, "I don't handle anything related to credit cards." She actually said that in a board meeting. Then, when confronted about specific charges, she pulled the classic, "Some of those were for you." Though, really? Did you go to Vegas? No comment. You in Vegas or not? I know, so were you. They didn't pay for that. It's a whole circus. Look, I get it. WGN misses the supermayor. They want to bring her back like it's a series finale cliffhanger. But recycling my clips? That's just sad. You're supposed to be a news outlet, not a bootleg version of my channel? Copying content? That's low, but let's talk about the clip itself because it's gold. Henyard acting like a literal child, making faces, dodging questions, even while sitting on a mountain of proof. This is why she never took the fall gracefully, because she never thought she had to. That's why she went down the way she did. Meanwhile, regular folks are stuck with the aftermath. Oh, and here's another twist. Supervisors, including Henyard, got crazy perks. Like $600 a day when traveling out of state for township business, and $400 a day for travel inside Illinois plus full travel reimbursement. That likely boosted her earnings way beyond $347,000. It's a setup that basically pays you to leave town. And here's where it gets dirty. She allegedly billed the township credit card for trip expenses and collected the daily travel stipend. Meaning, she didn't use that stipend on the actual travel, she just kept it. We even asked her replacement what he thinks about all that money. His answer? What you make is based on what you deliver. He compared it to being a pro athlete. Or a doctor. Basically, he's not arguing about the pay or perks now. I've given the Dalton trustees their flowers before for standing up to the supermayor and promising to clean things up. Okay? But don't mix that up with the new Thornton Township supervisor. He rode in on Henyard's controversies. And already he's giving the vibe that he'll keep playing the same game just with less noise. So if you live in Thornton Township, don't expect miracles. Not like Dalton, where the new leadership actually seems serious about undoing the mess Henyard left behind. After all, we've seen the reckless spending, the shady cancer charity, the FBI circling, and that chaotic board meeting fight. Tits wild that Henyard still has fans. Yup, there are still some people out here backing the supermayor. You'll see that same woman say. She's just doing what men have always done. But come on, show me one man who pulled off this many scandals in one term and still had a job. Just one. In the end, political terms are short. But legends, they live forever. And the supermayor, yeah, she made sure of that. But, those are just my thoughts. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more, follow me on social, and support the channel through the links in the description. This has been me, breaking down how the supermayor was robbing folks way harder than anyone thought.